Hey, how's it going? I was just chilling, relaxing, and then I saw this video by this person, Kyle Kringle, uploaded about Micah Bell. And as a Micah enthusiast, I was quite offended. Now, we're gonna get into this. I'm gonna debunk this video and tell you what it's about. Unfortunately, when I read the title, it was No One Survives Micah Bell's Philosophy of Survival. It's a good title. I was thinking a much more deep and well thought out argument for why Micah's philosophy doesn't work, but turns out it's just a video of him talking about Micah Bell. And from my understanding, this is a religious person, so I kind of knew what he was going to talk about. So it's pretty it's good. This is going to be a piece of cake. So I'm just going to do this. And gonna hop into this video and talk about it. But first, if you want a real, actual, unbiased, analysis on Micah Bell, you can watch my video right over here, or here. Let's just jump into it.
I had Jenny. What? Yeah.
All right, a huge warning. I'm going to be really skipping a bunch of these parts because, again, there are sections that this guy just took from other content creators that talked about Red Dead Redemption 2 and Micah Bell, the theories associated with him. He copied a lot of it and just mentioned them here with no point or anything. He just said them as a way to portray Micah as an evil person. So there's a lot of that. I'm going to be skipping a bunch of those. And this video is 53 minutes long. I assure you most of it is just him playing dialogue from the game instead of actually making a case for anything. So we're going to be doing a lot of skipping. If you want the whole video, you can go watch it on his channel. But yeah, a lot of copying dialogue and playing it in the video as if that's making a case or, anything. He's not going to talk. He's not going to do a lot of talking for himself. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, first he says, talks about Jenny, Lenny's previous lover, and how Micah had a relationship with her.
If Jenny represented the gang's hope, the sign that everything was going to be okay, Micah is the exact opposite. Not only do I believe that Micah was not full of bull here, that he actually had Jenny and as a result screwed over that hope, I also believe he did not have permission. This inference is based on the examples of how Micah makes the move on the women in the camp.
Now here's a classic thing about this is one of the misrepresentations that I wish I actually talked about in my video. This is another thing that they got wrong about a Nietzsche-inspired type of character. So characters like this would not even enjoy any rape or any fantasies like that, but they do portray Micah as this person that enjoys rape and that kind of thing. And I believe that's one of the misrepresentations that really messes with your mind in you taking the side of Micah in any situation. So these are mistakes I can say, sprinkled throughout Micah's character development and these kinds of things that they made that it's not really Micah. That's why he's not a perfect representation of a character like that. So they screwed him up in a few ways. To a Nietzschean type of thinker, it is insulting to even indulge sexually with someone that is not interested in you. So that's you have to have that preconceived notion right there. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but it's not correct. So something I should have mentioned in my video.
No scares.
As you can tell, Micah is patently unfuckable. He's only good for fucking over others, and that's about all the good there is.
Now this person is... I'm going to talk about it later, but he has a way with words.
Everyone hates Micah. Inside the gang, outside the gang, and outside the game.
You can look right enough.
And these are reactions of streamers and that kind of thing to Micah Bell.
Fans would give to a...
That's a run you off a cliff.
But it's not the same kind of hate that Gen Z fans would give to a Kai Lang, or Gen X fans would give to a Jar Jar Binks, or generally everyone would give to Raiders of the Lost Story arc.
Ray Skywalker.
This is the Dolores Umbridge kind of hate. And Azula, a Joffrey, they're so good at being hateable. The fact that these characters are so hateable is why we love them so much.
Now, you gotta get into it. Hate is a huge thing with me as a Nietzsche enthusiast, as a Micah Bell enthusiast. You want to reduce hate as much as possible, and this is what this person is trying to spread with this video. Hate, trying to. We all hate this character, right? It's like, no, why can't we just simply enjoy a character without them being evil or good or anything, or taking sides? That person is bad, this person is good. Who should we hate? They want, these kinds of people, they want someone to hate in their media, and that's what they're looking for subconsciously when consuming media or games or whatever.
If this role wasn't separated from reality by the veneer of video game, Peter Blomquist might have been accosted for his performance. It's that good, playing someone that bad.
A little bit of projection, like he wants to actually harm the actor, maybe, I don't know.
Just the twisted parts of my brain is where I went into to come up with the character.
There are hardly any instances of endearment, moments that make you like him. Practically everything he does is designed to make the player hate him. He endangered the life of Lenny because he got drunk on a dry town.
He was half soaked before we even got there.
Let go.
Advises Dutch,
They are.
even murdering his old friend's wife for bad measure. He advises Dutch to go through with Pearson's foolish idea to make peace with Colm O'Driscoll, which leads to Arthur getting kidnapped with no search party.
Now everybody makes bad decisions. I don't know. I haven't thought about this bit of it that much, so I don't know about a motive or like why would Micah actually do this. Maybe he wants to combine the gangs for more outlaw stuff. I don't know. Something I haven't thought about. But there are many mistakes like that mess up the gang. There are so many mistakes. Like Arthur makes those mistakes. Not being coordinated enough with the gang, going behind Dutch, doing things, or even at the beginning, with the explosion not working, that was something that Arthur messes up. I mean, we don't know, but generally that's what it's thought to have happened. Yeah, everybody makes mistakes, and this is one of Micah's. He was like, yeah, we should talk.
No
to
matter what the
Colm
take, he always prefers direct violence.
He always prefers direct violence, but 10 seconds ago you said he wanted to make peace with Colm O'Driscoll, so...
You'll ride with me. Always.
Let me actually think about that. Are there other examples of him wanting peace rather than violence? Nothing comes to mind, but violence is not... It's not inherently bad or good. It's just a thing. It's just how people are. Some people are more violent, some people are less.
He antagonizes everyone at camp.
Look at you fools sitting there waiting.
But when you think about it, in between the members of the camp, there aren't anyone antagonizing anyone. Everybody's friendly. So here's a theme that starts popping up. If Micah didn't actually do a lot of things, the gang would still be together, still committing crime to this day. But something else happens.
Any law? Rest of us out risk it can if we chopped half the dead wood, won't even fuck you if you put a gun to their head.
Now you start to see how much I have to goddamn skip because of how most of this video is just lines from the game. It's like you don't have to. We know these lines. People who watch this video probably have played the game. We know these characters. You could have just made your case instead of just all these case and points. You don't need to do this.
I'm sure you've tried.
He mocks Arthur even more when he's at his weakest.
I mean, yeah, mocking weak people is what he does. What's your point?
However, the ultimate reason fans hate the man Micah Bell is because he's the one that ratted out the gang. And because Dutch propped him up and took the new guy's advice, the entire family suffered. Most of them died.
To add to that, a family of outlaws that did a lot of wrong things,
Dutch Vanderlyn may have been the match that burned out the gang and anyone else close by, but Micah Bell was the striker.
This will never end, by the way. This guy is fucking Saul Goodman with how many colorful metaphors he pulls out of his ass. But let me tell you, he has nothing to say.
A character of pure, honest evil with no redeeming quality.
Pure, honest, evil, no redeeming quality.
Basically whatsoever.
Buzzword, good.
There is that one
You're hitting all
sympathetic
the-
part in the first mission.
And then he talks about the sympathetic part in the first mission. But if you listen to it,
Folks,
Arthur,
dying on the trail.
Arthur, we got a problem. Folks, there's a corpse right here.
he interprets this as Micah caring about the corpse, and apparently a bunch of fans did. But I don't think that's the case at all. He is not being like, oh my god, dead person. He's just like, shit, because he's all about survival. He really doesn't give a shit that there's a corpse. He's not sympathizing with a dead man. He's like, Arthur, we are in a dangerous situation. Gear up. He's not out of breath for, I don't know, some sympathy type of thing.
I just
Arthur,
need some
There's a body
cans of food.
in the wagon.
There's a body in the wagon as he pulls out his guns. He's just warning, this is a survival. It's not a sympathy
I remember seeing a
thing.
comment from somewhere, but later at that same homestead, Micah's the reason that house burns down.
It is. So,
And at the end of the mission,
you can say that. I'm going to keep saying that. Just, he mentions things with no point. It's not going anywhere. He just says things, and he wants us to automatically agree that, wow, that's so bad, right? That's so bad. Without saying what is about that thing that he just mentioned.
So despite what seemed like an expression of concern over a human being, let's be real, it was probably just concern over his own skin.
Yeah.
Micah ends the mission expressing his distaste over other human beings with certain unchangeably skin-deep qualities.
You could just say he's racist.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he
I could.
is actually racist in the story, which I think is a huge misrepresentation of what a kind of person like that would be. It is just the writer's misunderstanding a Nietzsche-type character,
So could have the game.
which I talk about in my video. You can check it out.
So how do they introduce this character?
You up ahead. Who's there?
He makes this case for this introduction. Listen to it.
Micah.
Gentlemen,
Found anything?
I think so.
When we first played this, we were probably thinking, there's someone coming. Perhaps it's one of the mentioned men sent out to scout for shelter. So the cutscene began and we relaxed our hands, letting it play out without the minor stress of keeping up the pace. Dutch says Micah, so we say, that's Micah, to keep track of the one of many couple dozen characters. It's nice, it's dramatic, it's memorable.
And that's as deep as it goes, but he goes deeper for some reason.
But it's also subtle. Because on the first playthrough, you might not have noticed that before Micah becomes identifiable, he doesn't say anything.
There are moments in this video that he stretches for conclusions and ideas about these things. And I assume he thinks this is what analyzing a story means. But there are like three times he actually stretches in this video, and it's not pleasant to watch. It's like
He waits 6 whole seconds before Dutch
you're counting the seconds.
identifies him, and only then does he greet them back. Now, I know there's a lot of wind hitting a lot of trees, but Vanderlyn's voice was loud enough, close enough, and distinct enough for Micah to know that it's not anyone else. He does not mark himself as a friendly until Dutch said his name. It's more than just being cautious. It's as if Micah doesn't see himself as aligned with the gang, meaning he does not feel comfortable with exposing himself even to a friendly. In Micah's mind, there are no friendly.
Well, that is true, but this is not a good example of it. This is such a stretch. This is a
Friendly
quite
is
a
what
stretch,
Micah might
actually.
call
Too many mouths to feed.
Yeah. Friendlies to him is just able-bodied bandits or outlaws. That's what friendlies are to him. But yeah, that is understandable that he doesn't consider anyone friendly. That is an accurate description.
Well, we got a few less now, so you should be happy.
His only concern is his own survival. That's his MO. It's his renegade religion. his faithless philosophy. And we'll come to find out how nothing survives Micah's philosophy.
We actually don't, because we decided to pull out some stuff from other videos, theories about what Micah did, who Micah was. He doesn't expand on this. Yeah, like if you went with this, the actual title of the video, it would have been a lot more interesting. Like doing Micah's philosophy, what would happen to the gang? He's not doing that. He's just stating what happened and hoping that him saying these things, you automatically agree with him that yes, this is a bad thing that's happening, and Micah, if we listen to Micah Bell, we're all gonna die.
What you want, Micah?
Well, I want a friend, Arthur. I want hope. I want tomorrow to mean more than today. I want this.
Now, instead of that scene, this is what I would play as him, showing sympathy and, caring for people. This is his way.
Damn shit show to have some kind of meaning I haven't understood. But I ain't holding my breath.
Now, this, again, I have to multiple times mention that he is not a nihilist. And this person, what was his name? Kyle Kringle, is going to be one of the thousands of people that misunderstood Nietzsche as a nihilistic philosopher. He should just get in the line of people that thought that way. It's not true.
Micah Bell shares a name with a prophet from the Old Testament. Micah also shares a meaning with the name Michael.
He makes this case, I guess just listen to it.
Although, it's interesting that Micah implies God in the name, but doesn't share the root L, which means God, because perhaps God is not with this man.
See what I mean? Like what?
As demonstrated by his nihilistic worldview.
Again, not nihilistic.
You know, boys, there ain't no being saved.
This section is quotes that Micah says. Again, go watch the video if you want the quotes, but I'm sure if you played the game extensively, you know these quotes.
There ain't no soul, Reverend. Not in any of us.
This particular conversation where he says, there ain't no soul, Reverend, not in any of us. I want you to keep this in mind, because the person making this video heard this and was really, stabbed by it, in the wrong belief place, and he gets really defensive about this to the point that he keeps mentioning throughout the video, a bunch of like three, 4 times. He keeps talking about soul, because Micah saying there is no soul in any of us really rubs him the wrong way, and that's what a lot of religious people do. And to give you a little bit of explanation on that, people who are religious, there are so many smart people, logicians that talk to religious people trying to convince them that religion is stupid, and they all fail because religion does not come from a place of logic. You cannot fight it with logic. It comes from a place of emotion, and you should combine those and tackle it that way, in my opinion, that is. But yeah, generally it's a combination of everything about a human that makes them religious. It's not just logically thinking they're religious. And it is a fool's errand to try to fight them with logic. There are atheists, his name is O'Connor, something like that. He studied religion extensively. He brings up very good reasons on why religion is probably, kind of, something's not adding up about religion. But I don't know how many people he has converted to atheism, but it just doesn't work, because that's not how religion is. Someone not being able to get away from it. It's just how a person is. It's a personality trait more than something that they believe and you can change about them, or something. I mean, they can change, but generally it's something about their entire being that wants to be religious, and you can't just cut that away from them. And you're cutting a person, basically. You're chopping away a piece of that person. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, generally religion comes from a place of trust me, bro, and that's all there is to it. So you don't have to look for logic in it. You don't have to. That's the emotion of religion, and they basically think if you say it enough. You see these in religious ceremonies, and where you repeat things in a certain way. And that's how religion does. It gets deep inside your brain, doing it like that since you're a child. If you do these a certain kind of way, then you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense actually. I do these things a certain way. It's weird, don't have a reason for it. But if you do it enough times, the trust me bro reason, it starts emerging inside your brain. And this is what this person is trying to do. He hears this and he gets so upset that Micah knows that there are no soul in people. There's no soul in people, and he just gets real defensive. And he's like, soul this, soul that. Keeps repeating it. Really important. Hope, soul. These words. You know what I'm talking about. He keeps repeating them, and he hopes that this repetition, the same way he was indoctrinated, he can indoctrinate you. So another trait of religious type people, pushing for the religion, trying to get you to do it too, even though consciously when you ask them, no, believe what you want, man. But every action that they do, underlying it, yeah, they want to convert you.
It's a fairy story.
Perhaps. What do you believe?
I believe there's winners and losers, and nothing else besides.
Micah hailed from a small town closer to the Philistine lands than he was to Jerusalem.
This is a lot of explanation that, sure, tell us who the person is, but really doesn't matter in the argument you're making. It's like, which town he was from doesn't pertain to anything.
Preaching to Israel as an outsider. Micah belongs here, but not because he needed help. Unlike Bill and Sean, who needed purpose, Javier and Tilly, who needed a refuge, or John and Arthur, who needed a father, Micah is the one guy in the gang who's primarily there to be a better bandit.
This is actually a very good observation by him. It's pretty good.
His unwelcomed, but nonetheless accepted.
I never actually thought about that process, because every one of these people did need help, but the ones like John and Arthur became really competent, as opposed to other people who do need help in this gang, but are not pulling their weight. This is like Uncle and Reverend and those kinds of people.
Just stay calm and do what you do best.
It seems I'm best in mayhem. Sure, I'm no better than Micah.
Yes, you are.
Except in practice, they are. They
This is another good observation. You're going the right way, but
are like that guy. They rob people. They kill people who fight back, all in the name of survival. Condense everything they do down to base actions and motives, and you find that no other gun-toting thief in the gang is any different from Micah. But that's not all. That prophetic warning from the prophet Micah ends with a chilling diagnosis. For son treats father contemptuously, daughter rises up against her mother, daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies are the men of his own household. His first name foreshadows his betrayal and the downfall of this so-called family. He's not the source of everything wrong with the...
Now, a case that he's making for, with Micah antagonizing everybody and, these things, everybody's an enemy, even your own family. The important point in this is that there are people who are trying to reduce how alive you want to be. And these can be members from your family. That's all Micah's character is trying to portray. But this person believes that Micah is just enemy to everyone. Even, you have no loved ones. This is what he's trying to portray. But the whole thing with Nietzsche is that you shouldn't trust anyone. That's what he's trying to say. You shouldn't blindly trust anyone. And it's pertinent that Arthur's picture is actually on the frame right now, because he's the example of it. If he was as cunning as Micah, he wouldn't be so dependent and obedient when it comes to Dutch. So he wouldn't become a killer like this. He would be like, "Hey Dutch, I don't like your ways, maybe say that, huh?" Instead of killing for him and stealing for him for such a long time.
Dutch's gang. He's the one-way mirror reflecting everything wrong with the gang. The only way to see the guy on the other side is to get up close enough to not see yourself.
That's
to isolate.
The metaphors is just constant. Again, he's a showman. He is actually.
Other details and ignore the broader picture. Micah embodied the final outcome for those who would stay loyal to Dutch. If not dead, then dead inside, living only to steal the lives of others. In their last few months, he was the painful reminder that the Vanderlyn gang as a whole was just as awful as Micah.
I mean, that's a good observation. But a little bit before that, about the stealing the life of others, it's very funny because Dutch here is the person stealing the life of the people he adopts. Essentially, he brings them into the gang and makes them criminals. Not good for society. That's what he does. He steals their life in that sense. In the beginning, his action seems, altruist, or whatever the word is, trying to help people, but it's not like that. He's actually stealing their will, and they become an extension of him, which Micah is against. Actually, he's about living your own life. That's all he's about.
What about Bell? This isn't like Shady Bell with an E, which refers to beauty. This is closer to a physical bell. Is it a bell that reveals to everyone, including the...
I'm sure you see where this is going. The bell of the death bell. The bell tolls.
Wolves where the herd is? One that's, however, most likely attribute this connection to the phrase, for whom the bell. 24 word prose
And then he talks about the phrase, for whom the bell tolls.
It's to say dies with them. Quote, any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee.
Which is a good phrase that actually encapsulates Micah's whole character.
So keeping it as brief as I should, Micah Bell is the living...
Because, as I will tell you in a little bit, he really cares about human lives. Even though, it's hard to see it. You have to open those peepers.
His father was wanted for murder in 5 counties.
5. Never did suffer
5.
fools.
I love how Micah values what his father showed and taught him. Like, you'd think that the morally worst character, designed to be hateable in every scene, would be a terrible son who hated their parents. But no, Micah loves his daddy, who did all those terrible things. Maybe that is the morally worst option.
Yeah, I would assume that too, actually. I don't think a person with that kind of mentality, if he was written well, would actually like their parents. Hate is a strong word, but it wouldn't really be this much affection for his father, I don't think. Because generally, people like that are all about evolution, survival, that kind of thing. So the previous generation is not that much fun to them.
Hence his henchmen at the end of the story. Cleet and Joe are extensions of Micah's unwillingness to extend himself into this family. They're quiet, reserved, only there for the big job. Cold and cultureless.
I don't know about cultureless, but this is the writing. The writing has problems. It's not representing Micah well enough. So look at this ugly motherfucker. A person like Micah, which I emphasize in my video, he's not a fan of ugly things in general. So he shouldn't actually be okay with being friends with these kinds of people. But the story betrays him in some ways, including this one.
All folk can earn, Miss Grimshaw. Ain't none of us so enfeebled. We need charity. Even this fool.
Now, something important to understand is that even though he shows he doesn't like weak people that don't do anything, it doesn't mean, because it is confusing a little bit, because if a person doesn't believe, like Micah, he doesn't believe in free will. He's like, destiny, I'm this way, you're that way. Why would he then have contempt and bully, essentially, the weaker people in the group? So this is the paradoxical nature of a real human, because although we understand that we didn't choose to be born who we are, our capabilities, our weaknesses, we didn't choose them, but you can still be proud of your abilities and, what's the word? Essentially just be mean to other people for being weak, being the way they are. And it is paradoxical, but that's how evolution works. When you feel right and you feel good about who you are, you kind of want to bully the people that don't feel good about themselves and just, are bad for everybody, essentially. And it's just the way it is. It's just how humans are.
Is it too much to ask, considering they get a piece of every damn dollar I bring in?
Everyone does their share. I don't see you lifting a finger around camp.
Swanson does his share.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Arthur. A bunch of people in camp actually don't do much. Swanson arguably doesn't do pretty much anything throughout the story after his redemption, you know. He just leaves the gang. He doesn't provide anything for the gang.
Molly, come on.
No, that's different.
See, this is what I mean.
Even if we can agree that Molly and Swanson are poor contributors, that's not how you talk about family. Not everyone needs to make a...
So this is where ideas are stopping you from thinking clearly. So if Micah was here, it's like, family? Really? That's what's stopping you from just, you know, don't kill these people. Don't punish them, you know. Don't torture them for being weak. Let them go. You don't have to be around them just because of this family, you know, woozy-wazzy thing up here that doesn't actually exist, you know. Other than bonds, genetic bond, what family are you talking about? These are random people. They're a gang. That's what they are. They're not family. You're just bringing this idea in to keep holding on to the weak people that don't contribute anything. They keep you back from being who you want to be. And see, this is what Micah would do. Just get rid of the weak people. You don't have to do... They don't choose to be weak, but they are. Just get rid of them.
The only other living thing he respects in this gang is his horse. That's right, we're analyzing the horses. Still not now.
Make sure
I don't see why that's a crazy thing. I mean, he talks about the name Baylock, which is a very specific name for a horse.
Baylock gets some of that.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with analyzing every bit of a story, especially when the name is so suspect. It's like, what does it mean?
Horse.
Wait, what did he say?
This is not at all a new observation.
Yeah, a lot of observations about this video are not new at all.
But the Dark Horse only spawns in RDR when Marston's honor is low enough, and it will not respond to his whistle if his honor is restored. Baylock is an indicator of just how low Micah's honor really is. Not that we needed more proof.
Yeah, so even he doesn't see the point of talking about that.
Again, this is not exactly new information to the seasoned fan. Though, while we are familiar with the in-game Dark Horse, I think we also ought to consider the term Dark Horse. In politics, this term refers to a candidate that was previously unknown and then suddenly shows up with a decent chance at winning.
This is a good observation. Baylock, Dark Horse, and then this.
And taking over. Micah Bell doesn't just own a Dark Horse, he is the Dark Horse.
Oh my god.
Now let's consider
So
the name
dramatic.
of this. To top it all off, the role Micah serves for the gang matches the title of the movie Mrs. Baylock comes from.
Wow.
The Omen. If Micah isn't
The stretching is crazy.
Doom personified as I asserted before, then perhaps
Oh,
instead
wow.
he's the Omen, the
Oh, wow.
living sign of the doom to come.
I mean, you already talked about this with the bell. I mean, the doom is coming. He's the end. Fine, but yeah. This is he just saying this because he's religious? And whenever he sees a really bad, evil person, you know, he's like, you're the sign that the end times are coming. It's like, I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing.
You're pathetic.
It's like, well, you ever consider that's a human being? And maybe there are people that consider you the end times? And that's how that's how religion conflicts begin.
Every last one of you. Aside from Dutch, and the only thing pathetic about him is the fact that he associates with you fools.
As you can see, he doesn't trust anyone. He's like, you guys are pathetic, and Dutch isn't pathetic. But the only pathetic thing about him, it goes on to say that he is actually pathetic in some way as well. He doesn't consider anybody above himself. And later,
Must make
we're gonna get there.
him feel good. Taking care of the simple-minded, the desperate, and the needy.
As with most monologues at camp, characters who share stories by the fire do
And then he does this thing where characters are quiet when there's a monologue going on with one of the characters, and he's like, yeah, every time this happens, all the other characters are silent for the one person to talk and do expository thing for the story that they for exposition purposes for that character. And he's like, yeah, every time a character does this, everybody else is quiet, and so we can't conclude anything from that. But then he proceeds to conclude that
so uninterrupted. So this antagonizing speech from chapter 6 isn't unique for having no one speak up, but it still makes sense why no one does.
There's no reason to say there's no conclusions to be made from this, because it's the same for every character, but then he proceeds to draw conclusions from it.
Everyone hates Micah, but not to the point that we don't respect him. His talents in this particular mission prove that this is not a man to be messed with. As much as Arthur accuses Micah of being...
I mean, you say everybody hates Micah. I don't know about Javier. I don't know if Javier and Dutch... I guess you just said everybody in the general sense.
In all talk,
Hey, cowpoke.
he laughs
Where does he go with this? I can't remember.
because he knows he's right.
Oh, wait a minute.
Was complain. You can fight, but you can't think.
You can't do either.
Okay, cowpoke.
No, he just laughs because Arthur was so proud of his quip that he came back with, oh, you can't do either, dumbass. And he was just... Michael was amused by the quip. He's not laughing because he's some coping maniac like some religious people are.
He laughs because he knows he's right.
No, he just laughed because of a funny quip. Because he appreciates it even when somebody's mean to him, if they're mean to him in a clever way, in an impressive manner.
And you'll fight this time?
I always fight.
No, you always talk.
He doesn't always talk.
With coaches, guns are more significant than words.
Oh, I'm fine with both, friend.
What a good one. That's a good line.
And Micah has 2 stagecoach robberies. One is a story mission that emboldens his utter ruthlessness and love for violence.
This is a robbery!
He doesn't just love violence. He really wants to push that. He loves everything. He loves every bit of life, every cruelty, every kindness, everything beautiful and ugly about the world. He appreciates everything, and that's what he is.
Stop that coach right now!
But I'm going to focus on the facts of the optional robbery.
Which is something that in a person with a Nietzschean point of view is considered, Nietzsche considers who is actually a living person, whoever has more tolerance for truth. That's what he calls a really impressive human being, for example. I mean, not exactly, but yeah, it is important for a person to be capable, how capable a person is in terms of handling truth and how much they deny it, in Nietzsche's view, dictates how valuable that person is in terms of human hierarchy.
Generally, those previous holdups had been successful, but Micah's method is the one with the least risk and highest efficiency.
That's a good observation. That's not a point I would bring up myself, but it is a good one.
Arthur, Micah, and Bill had the lethal element of surprise, solid cover, and no interest in talking. It's cold, brutal, and it's super effective.
Again, just saying things. This is what I mean with this video. He just wanted to talk about Micah Bell and, explore his character. But his previous viewpoint, it has to be a video about how evil Micah is.
Of course, this is only Micah Bell at his best. Well, his worst, but I mean when he's confident, on top of things. However, you see the real person when they're squeezed, when they're desperate
That's actually not true.
for help. And when Micah isn't the top dog,
You see a real person all the time. Not, I'm gonna do this to you to see the real you. People are themselves all the time. You don't need to do anything to them.
he's kind of a bitch.
Hello, old friend.
And then he does this thing. It's like Micah is a bitch and a coward or shit like that. But then he refutes himself by saying, well, never mind. He is actually in charge of this situation because Arthur does have to save him. And Micah is like, Micah is actually in charge of this situation, even though it doesn't sound like it. It doesn't seem like it when you look at it.
Why?
I always looked up to you, Arthur.
Well, that's your first mistake.
This is consistent. For when your philosophy
It is. Why are you what this is what it's so confusing. He can't aim his discussions toward what he wants to aim it towards. You're just talking about Micah Bell and who he is, but then every once in a while that religious fervor kicks in, and he's like, yeah, he is a Machiavellian character and he does anything to survive and get what he wants, and then he does that and he's like, what a bitch. It's like, see what I mean?
Then you will compromise against everything in life. Everything.
Emphasize on the everything because of how crazy and dramatic it is.
All other aspects
It's not.
of this collective human experience will go by the wayside.
Yeah, this is an example of him changing his mind on the spot just to, get more in cahoots with Dutch.
Mr. Miller has a way of putting things. Me, I'm just an old outlaw,
Really silver-tonguing Dutch to get on his good side.
not prepared to go quietly.
I know you folks is loyal to the point of constipation. Oh, you're more than that, Dutch.
And see, this is what I mean. He does that. He puts that audio in the middle of this to portray him as a bitch. But then again, he knows that when he's talking to the gang members, he's like, you guys are too fucking loyal. But then when he's with Dutch, he's like silver-tonguing him. And it's like, well, yeah, you're talking about Micah. He does everything to survive. But then when he's not in danger, because, Dutch could rally the gang on him, because Dutch is too powerful, he doesn't talk back at him. But when it comes to the rest of the gang, of course he's going to talk shit about him. Well, you guys are too loyal. He's going to talk shit because he's not loyal. He is not loyal to Dutch in this scene. He's just silver-tonguing him. Understand that.
You will even compromise your own standards.
I prefer a tight
That is not true.
crew. Just
It might sound like he has standards, and then he's betraying those standards. Meanwhile, he has no standards.
5 or 6
He's just a living human being.
strong gunmen.
Standards are for these guys, the person that made this video. Standards, laws, traditions, that kind of thing, that's for you. We're just out here living.
You got a whole gang now. Here they come.
And then he talks about this again continuously because Micah said he wants a gang of 5 or 6 gunmen, but then at the end of the game he has like 20 gunmen at this camp that he has, which is like, oh, can't believe he did something that he talked against way back when. And let me give you a good example of what kind of person this what was it, Kyle Kringle is. Here's a clip from Rick and Morty. This is the kind of person he is.
Hey, you are not cleared to land. We will open fire. Hold your ground, men. You'll be heroes.
This guy believes that anything you say throughout your life, you have to stand by. A man of your word. Be honest. Be fucking. This is what I'm talking about. He's such a good boy. And he can't believe Micah Bell. When he sees someone like that, he's so angry. He's like, what the fuck? Why can he live and be himself and not be slave? Because people are different. And this guy doesn't want to understand that. That some people are just operating at a higher level than him. He doesn't like that. He doesn't accept it. He's like, be good. Be honorable. This is what he is, essentially.
There's a camp here.
Not big enough. Micah rides with 10, 20 guys.
He's a hypocrite on all other principles because he's not a hypocrite on this one principle.
But then, again, those are not his principles. Those are some things that he pretends like are his principles to fit in with everyone else. But the only principle that he actually, and he believes that, this is what this Nietzsche thing. He's a survivor and everybody else is a survivor, but they're lying that they're not. And that's the hypocrisy he's trying to reveal with him being himself.
He didn't need Dutch to inspire him. He needed Dutch to admire him, to use Dutch to get what he wanted.
Money.
Sure, he played him like a fiddle. No need to talk about this stuff.
All our money lost.
This is like a huge part of him, and so much dialogue playing. It's just him. It's like he's making this video for people who have never played the game, which is kind of weird. Like, why do that? Why just assume that people watching the video know the game?
Back in Blackwater.
It's tiresome.
There's one question that fans have been debating since release. At what point did Micah become a rat?
This bit, I'm not sure if I'm gonna show this, because this is just, there are two ideas here that are explored in other people's videos, and even they stole the idea off of other people. But this is a topic that has been explored by other people. There's no need to talk about it in this video, but he does anyways.
Think so. Found me already.
This is all mentioned in another video talking about a theory about Red Dead Redemption, about, well, who's this snitch? There are many theories about this. Who snitched? Did anybody snitch? Did John snitch? Who knows?
Horseshoe, but I
Many
think
theories.
this law was...
Similarly, it wasn't Molly that ratted out the gang right before the Saint Denis bank job, but it wasn't Micah either. That was the result of the gang going after Bronte. These were the basic consequences.
That is not as clear-cut as he puts it there. There are many things in the game that writers deliberately didn't give a clear answer to, which this person that made this video does not like. He doesn't like ambiguity, which is one of the it's a huge human trait. It's actually examinable in political science and that kind of thing. Some people are just not okay with ambiguity, and this person is one of those people. He wants clear-cut answers. He wants people to punish and culprits. This is what he wants. Consciously not, he doesn't say that, but subconsciously, yes.
I'm still going to argue something bold.
This is very bold, and no.
Micah Bell was definitely a traitor, but was he always? Based on the following information, yes. Basically, yes. Micah Bell was always a rat. There's a nuance here, but it makes sense. I do not mean he was secretly talking with the Pinkertons the entire time. I mean that in Micah's hand...
This is such a silly thing that he does. It's like, Micah was always a rat in his heart or some shit. Listen to this.
Betrayal was always a card to play, especially true.
And the word used is something that I told you, keep in mind, soul. Because he doesn't like that Micah says things like, there's no soul in any of us. This guy really doesn't like that.
If you are threatened by the internal competition. Micah was always a rat in his soul since before Blackwater, but he officially became the rat after Guarma. Does that mean he did or didn't?
This is the thing. Really putting emphasis. Intentions matter, of course, but this kind of emphasis to the point that you believe someone was rotten to the core even before he did that wrong thing. He was always a bad. He was born this way. An evil person.
Not alert the Pinkertons before the ferry.
So, do you think it was...
Here he puts dialogue together to make a case that Micah ratted the gang before the furry job.
What is the evidence it could have been Micah all along? After the Strawberry jailbreak,
he proceeds to provide evidence for why it could have been Micah.
Micah will linger in his
evidence.
His own camp and might be hinting that Micah's feelings for his boss are not mutual. On the ground,
they're not mutual.
There's a piece of a wanted poster for Dutch Van...
Yep, which again has been discussed before. Just the idea that Micah joined the gang with the hopes of turning Dutch in.
Vanderland, dead or alive, $1,000. Why would Micah carry this around? Did he use this to track him down? Likely not, because Arthur...
He doesn't mention that this idea isn't his. This is... People have talked about this. This theory has been around for a while. He doesn't say that.
Wrote that and turned the bottle setup.
Speed things up a little bit. These are stuff you probably heard before.
Look here.
Talking about nothing that is related to the title of the video. He's just talking about the story and theories and that kind of thing. Of what happened and the intentions and that kind of stuff.
Is one of the worst camp spots of the game's map.
You know, this was the spot we first picked out for camp.
A dry riverbed?
Yep.
Who the hell suggested that?
Micah.
That is interesting. It's another thing I can't put a motive for. It's like, this is the person that cares about survival, right? it's like survival of the fittest. So is his idea to get the gang in this vulnerable position to get some of the weaker people in camp killed, hopefully, to get rid of them? Is that his plan? It's like running a motive for this. It's not easy.
Well, that don't surprise me.
This creek would have left the gang on a not-so-solid low ground.
He does talk about this. It's like, draw a conclusion, man. Where are you going with this?
Fully exposed to the would-be snipers up the mountain and or to the would-be ambushers in the trees nearby.
Seems very open. Yeah, it does. Ain't sure to be the best in the rain, neither.
As if Micah wants the gang to be caught.
But he is part of the gang mentioned. You ever think about that?
An outcome we come to figure out in Chapter 6.
Figure out what?
He just says that, but we don't actually come to figure that out. What are you talking about?
Plan.
He just says it. That's not what that is. He's going to talk about it. It's not what he says it is.
What was the plan in Chapter 6?
And then he jumps to this without... It doesn't make any sense.
To cause so much chaos that Uncle Sam would have too many fires to put out to notice the gang slipping away with the army's money. However, to be fair to Micah, this wasn't his idea. I thought so at first.
You're not supposed to say these kinds of things in the middle of the video. It's like, oh, to do this, and then cause distraction to do this, which is a crazy plan. But it wasn't Micah's plan.
Or at the very least, thought he influenced Dutch to do this. But I have just now amended this script after paying attention to the rest of this missable scene from camp.
As far as I can tell, we're penned in. Port, Saint Denis.
Then don't you think that's not a point to just have in here? It's like, you do anything for the length of the video, don't you?
If we go all together, we're doomed.
Here's him caring about the gang that he's in, because survival of the gang means his survival. He cares about it. So that's why I'm saying it's hard to establish a motive for his other camp spot that he suggested. But that's what I think. Getting rid of the weak people probably is the motive.
Pinkertons, Army, and everyone. They're just jumpy as all hell. If we can somehow... If we can get
at this point,
to start,
I'm letting the dialogue run too.
maybe we can sneak out the side while everyone else is just sniffing gun smoke. New York, maybe.
He could have replaced that with, yeah, Dutch proposes the plan. And that's it. Just say that. We don't need to hear the whole thing.
I don't know. But...
Such an unnecessarily long video.
No one is willing to make peace. You know how those who make peace are often described as building bridges? Well...
Good metaphor. But again, you're not good at making a case for anything, man. Like, that's not how you do it. This is not, you're just saying cool things. You should become a poet. He's jumping between these jumping.
Now, I'm probably overreading it here, but it's worth it, because if I didn't mention this scene, I'd be amiss.
Blessed are the
No, you are amiss. And then he plays this, and it doesn't make his case any better.
peacemakers, for they shall be called...
Hey, Molly,
For they shall be called, and then he's going to talk about where this goes, and it has nothing to do with any bridge.
where's Dutch?
Well, however it goes.
That's one of the Beatitudes spoken by Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, and the full quote is such: "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God." Now, this kind of peace is not merely maintenance of the calm. It's the active restoration of relationships. That's what most Christians believe the Son of God himself came to earth to do. Restore the relationship.
So here he's calling Micah Jesus, basically, because he's trying to restore the peace between Dutch and Como Driscoll, which were friends at some point.
Between man...
See, I'm pulling shit out of my ass.
And their creator. So anyone who...
Because you can't make any case from saying anything, according to this guy.
Months of that in your ear. How do you think you'd respond to this?
They came and took Abigail. I saved
Yeah, he responds to it the way a person affected by Micah Bell would respond to it. What's your point? Just ask where you're going with things, please.
Me and the boys know. We need to keep riding on this one, Dutch. You know it. Every man here knows
So we
it.
just gonna let the boy be made an orphan?
It ain't like that.
What is it like?
It's the... Yeah. This person is really leaning into it now.
I wanna live, cowpoke.
When this
That guy's bad, that guy's good. Boom.
is the only advice you hear, you will inevitably take it.
You're kind of making a case for why Dutch behaves the way he does, but that's another thing in the writing that the writers made sure it's ambiguous. It's not one thing or another caused it.
Still got the choice, Dutch. It's just a...
Because they put so many things. Because Dutch is in such a bad situation, then he gets a bang on the head. It's like, well, what caused him to be like that? Did he become... Arthur believes he became who he really was, but it's iffy.
Well, I guess that's that then. All them goddamn years.
That's the moment Arthur finally admits the gang was gone.
Thanks for saying it out loud. I'm pretty sure the emotions were well conveyed by the actor and the writing.
What
You don't have to say that.
was left of the body was still intact, but the soul was lost.
There he goes, talking about soul again.
The man he raised since age 12 for nearly 15 years. Discarded.
Dutch!
John?
That is a big, that's a mistake on Dutch's part. I mean, not because he was a really good gunman, so I don't think he should have been swayed by Micah to leave him behind. That's a mistake on his part. But since, of course, Micah knows that John is going to take Arthur's side and be against him, so it's survival of the fittest kind of thing. He's going to do something to John before he can take a shot at him, which he kind of does at the end.
Me.
John comes back for him for sure.
You left me to die. My boy.
So if he succeeded here with convincing Dutch to leave him there, he would have kind of survived in the end in the epilogue.
I didn't have a choice.
John was the soul of the gang.
Here he goes, talking about soul again. Really, really defensive here of him again. To he said, I talked about it. I'm not going to rephrase.
And the soul was abandoned. No remorse, no tears, just excuses. Arthur's reaction is silent and appalled. That's the moment he knew the Vanderlyn gang was.
A lot of the times when I'm watching these, it's like, really, people need to be told these things. They don't. It's like this person really considers his audience really dumb to be saying these kinds of things. Stating the obvious is disrespectful to your stating the obvious. See, it's getting long. My functions are going all over the place. Stating the obvious is disrespectful to your audience.
Dead, but he couldn't admit it until this moment.
We didn't need to. You didn't need to say that.
Dutch's ideals were...
And now at this point you might be wondering, well, I don't need to pause and say that he didn't need to say that either. I'd like to refer to Micah Bell's quote when he says, "I moan about the moaners." It's a classic.
Finally, completely compromised. Vanderlyn's leadership may have attracted all the outside dangers, but Micah Bell's corruption brought the internal rot.
And then he makes this case to say this in a second.
That slowly eroded the family. The rat brought the plague.
That slowly eroded the family. This is when I should remind this person that maybe consider this, with this verbiage, this was a group of outlaws that were doing harm to everybody. You can consider them a plague on society, and Micah the cleaning force to clean them up. If you're so all about that good and bad talk, Mr. Religious Person, why don't you see it that way? that these were criminals, and Micah disbanded them and destroyed them. Why don't you think of it like that?
That's why I think Micah was always a rat. He had treachery, the act of abandoning.
And then how long after he mentions that thing is it? Like, it was like fucking 30 minutes ago when he said Micah is a rat in his soul or heart or whatever. And it takes him this long to say that?
And or backstabbing your own people on standby, like a spare pistol in his breast pocket if he couldn't get to his main weapon, only to officially become the rat when he's caught by the Pinkertons, having no supplies and no gun.
You're not adding anything. You're just saying he's a Machiavellian. He cares about his not Machiavellian. He just cares about his survival. That's what I'm trying to say. So he rats whenever he sees the need to. You don't have to put it in a way like he was a rat from the start and then he officially began. This is not needed. You don't need to say it. It doesn't contribute anything to what we know.
Susan Grimshaw, always loyal to the cause, comes to her senses for a mere moment, only for Micah to shoot her the second she hears the Pinkertons are coming.
Now! Who amongst you is with me? And who is betraying me?
Are you serious right now, bro?
Grimshaw was the backbone of the gang.
He does this vine boom sound every time this dramatic text comes up. But let me shit talk Grimshaw a little bit for you. Grimshaw is not the backbone. Let me tell you what she is. Actually, this is why, as a Nietzsche enthusiast myself, I really care about evolution. And when old people kill young people, it really rubs me the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So, here, Micah kills Grimshaw. And if you think about it, he's trying to praise Grimshaw as this. But what was Grimshaw? Grimshaw was the person, because he shit talks Dutch's plan, which fucked everything up, and we don't like his plan, and it disintegrated the group. But what led him to make that stupid plan? It was his mental state. And what contributed to that? It was Grimshaw killing his beloved fiancée, or whatever Molly was to him. And this is what he doesn't get. Grimshaw kills fucking Molly in a really cold manner fashion. If you actually go back and look how he kills how she kills Molly, and you fast forward to when Micah kills Grimshaw, you can actually see a very cool parallel. And I love talking about how Micah's revenge is so good, and it's so true, and it's so right. And you can go back and watch my video how Sadie's revenge for her husband is psychotic, delusional, and it's a terrorist act. But Micah's revenge is always right, and it's always justified. So if you want to wonder why in this scene,
mere moment, only for Micah to shoot her the second she hears the Pinkertons are coming.
In this scene, when you see Dutch not giving a shit that Grimshaw got shot, is because he's deep down, he's like, thanks, Micah, for killing the person that killed my beloved fiance. Deep down, that's what he's feeling. That's why he doesn't give a shit that Micah actually killed Grimshaw. And Micah, see, he's so good. It's like all these things with Dutch, and then he kills the person that killed his fiance for revenge. It's like, it's so good. He's such a good, and it's etched on his gun, not to be like this guy stating the obvious for you, but revenge is his, and it's a good revenge as opposed to other kinds of stupid revenge. You love to see it.
Is with me.
But then again, calling Grimshaw is the backbone is so disrespectful to the gang, because she messing up Dutch even further by killing Molly, because that's what she represents. She represents the law, tradition, unquestioned authority. That's what she is. And she kills a young person that just disobeyed the law, and she could have made an exception for her. But this is the kind of people that the person that made this video and Grimshaw are. It's like no exceptions. Law has to be obeyed, or tradition has to be obeyed. No exceptions. You have to go through the same pain that we have. And what do we do to rats? We shoot them on the spot. But Grimshaw, what about the special cases? Do you ever think about that? We are humans, but no. She has to go ahead and kill someone that reminded her of her youth and how beautiful she used to be, just because of hate. An act of hate. This is another one. I mean, I'm not gonna make a whole video about it, but I have to talk about this. That people don't realize what kind of disgusting person Grimshaw and this person that made the video is that mentality, that doing things that justify your disgusting actions, including killing a young beautiful woman with so much potential just because of some stupid rule. I had to talk about that.
And who was the backbone of the gang? The reason it kept running. And Micah is the final reason.
It's actually the reason it disintegrated, like I said. She contributed a bunch by killing Molly.
It stopped. He was the straw that broke the gang's back.
He says a bunch of stuff like that Micah was the final. Okay, listen.
Not the main reason, but the final reason.
See, that's what I'm talking about. He says not the main reason, but the final reason. But both of those answers is you looking for a culprit to punish for bad things that happen. That's all religious. That's their bread and butter, religious people. They're not like, okay, 10 factors contributed to this. They just want to pass judgment. Who's right? Who's wrong? Let's fuck them up. Let's fuck up the bad boys. Fuck up the bad guys. We're the good guys, right?
If there's a more accurate description, then perhaps Micah was always a snake and later became a rat. His philosophy,
his way with words,
of being a survivor is how the gang failed to survive. Dutch is still the reason why, but Micah is the reason how.
Wow, so well done with the dramatic pause there. That's so stupid. Micah. If you want to talk about why, Micah is why the story happens. I've talked about this. Micah is the why. The how, you can see on screen. These reasons. You don't need to tell people how something happened. They can see it. They can reason themselves. I mean, not a lot of people, but most people can do this with common sense. You don't have to. There's no how to be made here, but he just wants to make it, the wording poetic and somehow cool. But technically, no. Micah is the why, and the how we can see across the timeline throughout the game.
Though I know it's easy to get caught up in the blame game, as if multiple parties somehow
and then proceeds to get caught up in the blame game.
Can't be responsible for the same results. Micah Bell was this demonic influence on Dutch, a devil.
He was just an influence. No need to put demons or demonic or evil into it. He was just an influence, just like Arthur was.
On his shoulder.
Because that's why, when you teach people, if you didn't know, Dutch taught Arthur to read and that kind of thing, and adopted John and Arthur, and that's what, it's a two-way. He influenced them to become criminals and that kind of thing, but they also influenced Dutch, because then Dutch was like, oh, I can do things, I can teach people, I can change people, and that's how he became a leader.
As I referred to him in the Beaver Hollow segment, a serpent that tightly wrapped around him, enticing him to descend deeper into self-destruction.
The metaphors.
Dutch might have eventually walked away, but it wasn't enough. The only way for the sons to remove this serpent from the father is for the father to decide he's done with it.
Wow, what a metaphor! Wow, really illustrated a lot of things there.
One gunshot is all we need. This wasn't just retribution.
America.
This was confession.
Freedom.
That Dutch was wrong for trusting Micah.
Democracy.
And that Micah needed to go.
Yeah.
It wasn't enough to redeem Dutch, but it was enough to heal him from this. While I did present before how it was foolish for John to pursue Micah in revenge, the death of Micah Bell was nonetheless needed and justified. Micah's final resting place is
justified. Focus on that word.
It's not on the highest peak that pierces the clouds, but on a snowy cliff John had to climb down to.
It's still way up in the clouds. Like,
as Dante
come on,
they depicted in Inferno, this is like the final circle of hell. Cold.
That's exactly, I bet that's what they were going for, yes.
Cold. Frozen. And exclusively reserved for traitors.
And again, showing the rat. It's so... the Red Dead Redemption 2 community loves talking about how there's a rat there. It's their favorite fact about the fucking game. While there's so many things to talk about, that's their favorite part. The person that did that in Rockstar, you should be proud of yourself because you caught the attention of a lot of people.
When I fall, I don't want no fuss.
When you fall, there'll be a party.
Probably.
And then we get to the masterpiece. I'm about to end this video, but holy I don't know how long this has been. And then we get to the masterpiece of all religion. Did you catch it? Did you catch yourself kind of happy that Micah has died? And this is the ultimate religious person moment. Justifying and being happy about another human's death. Albeit, I mean, this is fictional, but it goes into real life. Trust me, I've seen it. I'm in a religious place myself. I mean, I'm in the Middle East. I know this. I know these things. I know it starts from here. You know, you're happy this fictional character died. Haha, find the evil person in the story and let's all point and laugh at him and make fun of him and hate him. And then be so happy when he dies. And that's how it starts. You should catch yourself during those moments when you celebrate another human's death. Something to think about. And that's how religion gets you to do disgusting things. It's justification. Is find the ultimate thing that caused this evil. Find it, punish it, and never try to understand it. Anyways, this has been too long a video, I swear. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.